Muchísimas gracias. Se pueden sentar. Por las razones antes mencionadas de condiciones del tiempo, ha habido que hacer algunos pequeños cambios en el programa original, pero con nosotros se encuentra Davey Talbot. Él es el director de Desarrollo de las voces del Victims of Communism Memorial Foundation. Davey Talbot is the director of the development of the Victims of Communism Memorial Foundation, and he's among us today. And it is for me a pleasure to introduce him. And con nosotros, David. Adelante.
Buenos tardes. My name is David Talbot. Thank you for the kind introduction, Omar. And it is a tremendous pleasure to be here today. Thank you so much for having me. I was supposed to be here with Marion Smith, who is my boss, and he's my colleague, but really, at the end of the day, he's my brother in arms. And, you know, it turns out the communists don't like it when we go places and we make new friends. And I think this morning they figured out some way to to threaten Mother Nature. And Marion was going up through JFK. He spent 4 hours in the airport and 2 hours on an airplane, and I sat for 2.5 hours on the tarmac. I'm so sorry for being late. But I did get Marion's blessing in the car on the way here to speak on behalf of the Victims of Communism Memorial Foundation. But first I want to compliment everyone who did anything to help make this museum here possible. I had a really quick introduction to it on my way up the stairs, but from what I can tell, especially by the people who were here, this is a special place, and it's a privilege to be here sharing some things with you today. One of the first things that Mary and I want to convey to all of you in this room is we take a tremendous amount of inspiration from your work. I can't emphasize that enough. Even when it's cold up in Washington like it was this morning, and it's a Saturday morning, and we burnt the midnight oil putting together our board reports, the thing that got me up in the cold and the dark this morning, was not a flight to catch, but it was the opportunity to come and spend this time with you. And I know Marion feels the same way, because I've seen him in many similar situations, and I see that light in his eyes. So this is your warning. He'll be back soon, and that will be good. In the meantime, I want to thank all of our Cuban partners here in Miami, and we want to make more and meet you all where you're at and learn about what you're doing and figure out how we can add value to it. I want to thank you for keeping us in the loop. We're inside the Beltway. We're in Washington, and that makes us a sort of different kind of animal, and we couldn't really succeed at what we're trying to do without valuable information and you helping keep us relevant and on the front lines and knowing what the issues are. So I want to thank you for that, because that's made a big difference for us in the last couple of years. The Victims of Communism Memorial Foundation is a educational human rights nonprofit with a mission to educate people, chiefly Americans, chiefly millennial Americans, young Americans. It's the largest portion of our demographic in our population today, and they're the ones who are the future political will and voters in the United States. And it's very important for them to learn the history, the blood and the treasure that the United States has invested in fighting communism, understanding why, and also understanding the issues in the 21st century. The president stood in Havana this year, claiming to be burying, the vestiges of the Cold War in Latin America. I don't think he really even understands why the embargo is in place. So to claim that it's failed, and for everyone my age, for all the youngsters saying, yeah, President Obama says it's failed. It's failed. There's a lack of understanding, and we're trying to meet that. So really quickly, the Victims of Communism Memorial Foundation, in addition to a lot of the work that we've done with our dissident ethnic communities today, particularly the Cubans, but also with folks from the Baltics, from the Visegrad countries, from Taiwan, from Hong Kong, from Vietnam, from Laos, and others. That network is part of our lifeblood. But we also spend a lot of time educating Americans. We do teacher seminars in the summer for high school teachers. We do college outreach programs on college campuses across the country. We do a lot of original research and a bunch of other things that I could tell you about. But the main thing that I want to tell you about today is something that I've personally been involved in, sort of soup to nuts, and this is our Witness Project. And I'm going to leave it at that. I want you to see it first, and then we can talk about it a little bit if you like it. So, can you see? Do you want me to move? Do you want me to arrange these so that? Okay, great. So this is 7 minutes long.
I was born right after the Tiananmen Square massacre. I had to learn from Western media what happened to those courageous Chinese people who were killed that day, June 4th, 1989. That really shocked me. It has never existed in our generation's memories. I had a shift in my worldview and had the courage to doubt what I had been learning my entire life. It's a profound embarrassment to learn that your entire belief system was based on a huge lie. My name's Anastasia Lin. My Chinese name is Ling Ye Fan. I am a working actress, and I am Miss World Canada 2015 and 16. I entered the beauty pageant because I wanted to speak up for those people.
Anastasia Lin is an advocate for human rights in China.
Anastasia Lin.
Lin is an outspoken critic of China's human rights record.
I feel like I'm just putting one foot in front of another. I never look at myself like a human rights activist. Chinese people and Western people live in two different worlds. I consider myself to be Canadian, and also I grew up in a Chinese environment. Chinese people consider I'm Chinese. I'm stuck in the middle. There's a lot of things in my childhood that I still cannot really understand. We were taught songs that had lyrics about how the Communist Party is closer to you than your own mother. Communist Party is always glorious, listen righteous, to the party. And great. Always believe them. Party is good for you. Educate ourselves. Denounce our enemies. You should always strive for being aligned. I was elected as a student leader, and I taught to discourage their private personalities to make their whole being assimilate to the communist ideology. I became an agent for the state to persecute my fellow Chinese. Report to teacher, whoever is not in line. And I didn't know better. wouldn't have done that if I know the truth. And they're still doing it today. My mother wanted to bring me out of China because of that. Because she thinks that that environment cannot be healthy for a child. And she wanted me to grow up in a society that has dignity and be free to be who I am. My parents got divorced and my mom brought me to Canada. The change that I experienced didn't happen overnight. It happened over a course of quite a few years. A lifetime of indoctrination is not easy to shed. The Communist Party wants absolute control of the hearts and minds of Chinese people. After I came to Canada, I learned the Chinese Communist Party has a few buttons that people can push. The Tibetans, the Uyghurs, the Falun Gong, House Christians, Taiwan, and Tiananmen Square. I went online and searched all those topics. I was most shocked when I watched the video of Tiananmen Massacre. Chinese people tried. Everybody came together. In my 13 years of experience in China, I'd never really seen Chinese people willing to risk their lives for other people. But on that day, they were rescuing the students with bullets flying around them. It gave me a new understanding, new appreciation for my countrymen. I knew that I had to go to the Miss World competition. Why a beauty pageant? I thought that's a great way to raise awareness.
This heritage of freedom, I pledge to uphold for myself and all mankind. And that is why I'm fighting for what I think is right.
Chinese people are not living happily and freely like they should be. And that's why they're scared of me going to China.
Anastasia Lin's been barred from a beauty pageant there.
Canada's entrant in the Miss World contest
stopped from entering mainland China.
I'm not welcome to the country anymore.
Ask the Chinese government, why is it afraid to let in a beauty queen?
They don't want me to go there and encourage Chinese people to speak up. They don't want me to go there to offer them hope. They don't want me to go there and then the Chinese people can look at their daughter on the screen and say, perhaps we can be less afraid because she is not. For communists, that's a terrible thing. When you speak your mind, the Communist Party is going to go after you. They will always use your family member as leverage to silence you. My father was threatened in China by the state security force. I got a message from my dad saying that I should stop talking about human rights or my family's gonna face consequences. He was very scared and I felt very vulnerable. My father didn't speak to me for a very long time. At one point, I thought he was not proud of me anymore. And then he sent me this key as a gift. The key means that they cannot destroy a father's love for a daughter. The care we have for each other, no matter how hard they try. I spoke the truth. In the past 6 decades, Chinese communists tried very hard to insert fear, hate in the Chinese people's mind and heart. They made us hate each other. They made us fight each other, different social class to fight each other, destroy our traditional culture. But there's a truth that they cannot take away. And I know that it's in the Chinese people's heart. And one day they will discover it. They will confront the crimes of the Communist Party.
I have 2 more of those videos that we can watch if we have enough time. But the question I really want to ask all of you today is, do you think a video like that telling a Cuban story would be valuable to your cause? One of my goals is to be back here in 6 or 8 or 10 months showing it to you. And if you're interested in helping me make that possible, I'd love to talk to you. I think that's all I have. Thank you, everyone.